Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 197 of the Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Area 51 Sports Network. Josh Ray joined alongside Nathan Dirk as per usual, talking all things footy. We're live on our Terminal City FC YouTube and back on the Area 51 Sports Network Twitter page. And hello to everyone watching, and hello to everyone listening to wherever you get your podcasts. So the Whitecaps are back in the win column with a 3-2 win over St. Louis, but it wasn't a pretty win by any means. It was also pretty controversial, and penalties, given and not given, were pretty much the story of this game.
Yeah, you could pretty much decide this game based off three different penalty shouts. I won't call them calls because one of them was not called.
Yep.
Ironically, I think the one that wasn't called was the one that actually felt the most like a penalty.
Yeah, that was in the first half where Sabby was tripped up in the box, no call. Jesper Sorensen after the game said he thought that one should have been called. But right after, I think Tristan Blackman falls in the box, and that one was called.
Yeah, I think if there was ever going to be a review on what happened with Emmanuel Sabby, that kind of got washed with what happened with Blackman because the two shouts were within, 30 seconds of each other?
Not
there was no
even,
time to
feels
even
like.
check the other one. And if you're going to give one, it's already done. So here you go. White steps up to the spot, converts it. I think that was his 14th goal in MLS. I think it does tie.
Yeah.
I think was it 20 goals on the season from last year.
15 in MLS past 2 years, so he's very close.
There you go.
And overall, the game, penalties aside, it wasn't good for the Whitecaps in that first half. That was not a good half at all, especially after they gave up that first goal to Edward Lowen, a free header in the box. Halbouni and Blackman parted like the Red Sea. The Whitecaps couldn't break down the St. Louis defense, and the transitions by St. Louis were dangerous, and the defense looked very shaky in that first half.
They started coming to life last 5-10 minutes of the first half, but yeah, I have to say it was one of the more lackluster 45 minutes of football I've seen from the Whitecaps this season. And it was tough, especially being back at BC Place and playing a team like St. Louis that had only, before this game, one win on the road all season.
Yeah, and though Jesper Sorensen kind of summed it up, like St. Louis are a better team than their points say, because they're a big team. They're a physical team, too.
Mm-hmm.
And defensively, when they were up 1-0, they clogged the passing lanes, clogged the shooting lanes, and made life difficult for the Whitecaps in that first half. And the only shot on target by the Whitecaps in that half, the goal, the Brian White penalty.
Yeah, which is kind of damning when your only shot on target is a penalty.
Yeah, and just overall, that half was really tough to watch. And like defensively, the Whitecaps were giving the ball away in their own half, making St. Louis dangerous on their transitions. Luckily, St. Louis didn't really muster anything after that Edward Lowen goal. But in the second half, a lot better, and Whitecaps were pushing for that go-ahead goal and trying to find those spaces in and around the box. But again, the defense was their own undoing. St. Louis goes on the transition. Joao Cost pretty much gets around Laborda and Bilal Halbouni. By the way, I guess that goes to show why he doesn't start often, because very rough game for him, especially with the passes.
It was not the greatest game for Bilal. He's now had 2 starts back-to-back, and I think it was nice to see that, to give that to him. Obviously, the situation with center backs and being a bit scarce in that area coming into this match played into that. We now have cover in. Sean Lau was on the bench. He was ready to go and didn't see any time. Obviously, it was more attacking options that the game required later on. And Jorick Pupe should, I would say, be ready once the Whitecaps get back to playing here in 3 weeks. 2.5 weeks.
And then, the, and then Klaus just beats Takaoka, which I think he dove a little too late on that shot. And that also goes to show how important Ranko Veselinovic is to this team and how, you know, they missed him because those type of goals Ranko tends to prevent.
Yeah. The one thing that's nice is what you're hearing about someone like Sean Lau is that he is a center back in that Ranko Veselinovic mold. He is a
Very
guy that
similar
stays
profile.
home. He understands the defensive side of the game. He's not one to really kind of get up where, you know, a player like Tristan Blackmon, if he has the run available to him, will take it. And then when it comes to the height, Pupe is up there in height. I believe he is roughly the same height as Veselinovic, maybe an inch or two either side. But yeah, it's better options. And I think going forward, once you get these guys integrated into the side, you will see a more robust backline.
Yeah. But that goal was just them Whitecaps shooting themselves in the foot. But good on them for responding. Daniel Rios off the bench, header from Sebastian Berhalter's free kick.
And honestly, I think that was Rios' first touch of the match.
Yeah, literally was. And
yeah,
Whitecaps were back in it. And then for the next 10, 20 minutes, you could see Whitecaps wanted that winner. Just pushing and pushing, but they couldn't get a good shot. They were too hesitant to shoot, which I think was the story of the game. They weren't, making Roman Berkey make the big saves, though there were a few shots that just went high. And then we got 10 minutes of stoppage time thanks to two St. Louis injuries. Reminiscence of the 2022 World Cup. Though this amount of stoppage time was understandable given the injuries. And I was thinking when I was watching, like, yeah, this game is screaming for a Thomas Muller winner. And it came, but not in the best circumstances.
Yeah. So the penalty, this is kind of what's been dominating a lot of talk in MLS this past few days. Laborda goes down in the box. Is he taken down with a tap on the knee? Is he taken down because he trips over his own feet? From any angle that we saw, and I know, Josh, that you agree with me, it did not look like a penalty.
No, it really looked like Laborda fell on his own. So the defender, Murky, I believe, people are saying, oh, his knee catches Laborda on the back of the leg, which if there was contact, sure, but you don't fall that easily when you're running and someone taps you with his knee on the back. Just
now, the interesting thing is I had a guy message me saying that he was in the stands sitting really, really close to where the referee was called to the pitch side monitor. And because this was one that the call in the field was no penalty.
No penalty.
VAR, it was VAR who actually stepped in. So for VAR to do it, obviously it has to be clear and obvious. That's the rule. He was saying, and now this is all just hearsay, whatever, everyone's trying to psychoanalyze this. But he was saying that when the referee was looking at the pitch side monitor, it appeared as if he kept shaking his head, no, 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 until there was a definitive moment where he looked at something, and it was as if everyone could see him change his mind. Now, I know referees are given different angles than what we get on a broadcast that we get to see. I really wish I would have been able to see that because
I think we all wish we could have seen that.
Yeah, everything that we saw. But whatever it was, there was something definitive that changed the referee's mind. I believe those sort of images need to be shown. Otherwise, you're going to end up with situations like this in the future where it further lends itself to believing that pro referees aren't capable of managing MLS matches.
Yeah, I believe that the referee saw something from an angle that the public doesn't get to see. And I really would like to see that angle.
I'd really like to see it too, because for right now, for me, it was no penalty.
For me too. No penalty. A lot of people in the press box, even Whitecaps fans, are saying no penalty.
Yeah.
Because when I thought the ref was going to the monitor. I'm like, yeah, oh, that's interesting. And then looking at the replay, like, yeah, this isn't a penalty. And then he comes out and says it's a penalty, which I was
I
very
think,
surprised.
yeah, a lot of people did a head snap. The one thing I will say is I feel like a lot of Whitecaps fans are looking at this very philosophically, like, over an entire season of saying, you know what, given what has happened in recent matches or over the, this first
over the years
quarters
even
of the season, maybe we had some luck headed our way, right? We had Ocampo's double yellows, which that second yellow was a VAR that shouldn't have happened, and
the penalty given in
disciplinary
that game.
Disciplinary council actually removed the red card afterwards too. You have the penalty shouts that were in the game. You have Mueller's first beautiful goal that was chalked off to offside when really it wasn't. You have all of these things that kind of add up over a season. Maybe this is just a little bit, the soccer gods righting previous wrongs.
Yeah, it's, give and take. And the makeup call, like in the NHL, the makeup call.
Yeah.
And also for the non-savvy penalty shout, too.
The one thing is the NHL makeup call usually happens in the same game against the same team. So I completely understand why City fans feel aggrieved.
Yeah, 100%. St. Louis fans have all the right to be angry about this, because if this was our team, we'd be feeling the same.
I think the other thing is it's amplified for St. Louis this season as well, because it has been a horrible season. They have 5 wins on the season. They're 14th out of 15 in the West. But when we talk about teams in this league of, teams that aren't doing well, we're talking about the Galaxy. We're talking about Montreal. Teams like St. Louis that are in that same situation are even getting lost in that conversation.
Yeah, and St. Louis are a better team than the record shows.
Yeah. The other thing is this is St. Louis facing kind of like their first real adversity since coming into the league. They came in with such fanfare. They did phenomenal. They were like the darlings when they first came in. And
they're like what San Diego is now.
Yeah. Now they've kind of disappeared.
Well, last year they were pretty poor too.
Yeah. But they're starting to have to understand what that feels like.
Yeah. Kind of like a true expansion team. If you want to get philosophical.
The same thing that Atlanta's going through.
Yeah. Because Atlanta won the MLS Cup in their second year.
And where have they been since then?
A very disappointing year this year for them, given the money they spent.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, it ended up with 3 points, which is phenomenal. It's a
win is a win.
3 points. It puts the Whitecaps at 49 points on the season so far. I said at the beginning of the season, if they could get over that 50 mark, I would be very, very happy.
1 point away
from that. But the other thing is they now have 2 more points this season with still how many games left in it? 2 more points than they had in the entirety of last year.
Yep. And by the way, they are 4 points away from tying their MLS era record for points in a season, 53 in 2015.
Go. And if I'm right, I believe they are only 4 points off. They're 4 points off top of the West, only 5 points out of the Supporter Shield. It's not done yet. And when you look at it, every single team in the Supporter Shield running has played one more game than the Whitecaps. So this is still a race.
The MLS panel on Apple TV wrap up, I believe, they were talking about, this is the best Supporter Shield race in years because there is no clear favorite. And I have to agree with that 100%.
Not really. I do believe
any one of these teams in the running could win it.
Now, if I'm correct, Philadelphia in the East, San Diego in the West have both clinched playoff spots.
I believe you're right. I know San Diego did, but I'm pretty sure Philadelphia did as well.
I'm pretty sure they did. Season. So, we're heading into that latter part of the season where we're now going to start to see the movement in the table not be as much. But when you're looking at the top of the table, the top 3 teams in the West, the top 3 teams in the East, it's anyone's right now.
Remember the past few years, Whitecaps, the goal should be top 4. And now we're thinking, top 4 in the league.
I know, right? How a little bit of time changes everything. The other thing I will say is this is also an argument in favor of leagues with parity, right?
Yeah.
Because you do get seasons that end like this. If we were in the Premier League, we would already know who your top team is going to be, most likely. We would have a good idea of the top 4 teams making Champions League and all this different things, right? It would be just a little bit of movement here and there, not a whole lot. I mean, honestly, when it comes to Premier League, you have a general idea of who's going to win the league at Christmas. That's halfway.
Or even before Christmas.
We have no idea right now, right?
Yeah.
And we have 6 games left. I think the Whitecaps have 7 games left because there's 34 in the season. So I think for as much as we joke about all these different instruments in like TAM and GAM and all these different, funny money and, the slots in how we construct rosters, it does give us this.
Yeah, and just looking at MLS as a whole right now, if you ask any expert who do you think is going to win MLS Cup, you can't really pick one because there's so many teams to choose from. And I think that also goes to show why MLS is attractive to European players and coaches, because it's very competitive and very unpredictable.
You know what it is? MLS to football is what Texas Hold'em is to poker. The movement is so much season to season that just because you had a fantastic season one year, you could be the wooden spoon the next season.
Look at LA Galaxy.
Look at LA Galaxy. That they are the example. That is them. They won last year. They're dead last right now.
Hey, Miami won the Supporters Shield last year, and they're like 5th.
Yeah, 5th in the East. I don't even know what they are in the Supporters Shield, but they've got to be.
I think they're.
I don't even know if they're top 10. I don't think they're top 10.
And like people say, like Inter Miami have Lionel Messi, and they should win the entire MLS. No, look how competitive MLS is.
You don't win with 11 Messis on the pitch.
Yeah, and you can't expect like an LAFC with Son or Whitecaps with Muller to just run away with the league.
No, not at all. You need everyone that's working together, right? You can bring in these phenomenal players, but I mean, and we can talk about let's talk about Olivier Giroud, who was a fantastic example of this. I think he could have worked really, really good at LAFC if someone would actually have given him the ball. But when you have someone like Danny Boango on the team who doesn't give the ball to anyone unless he's putting it in the back of the net, which he's very good at doing, you're going to have a player like Giroud be completely isolated. Right? You need to work together as a team. Otherwise, these phenomenal players, it just doesn't matter.
And the MLS is not a repeat champion since the early 2010s LA Galaxy dynasty with Beckham, Keane, and Donovan.
Man, that long. That's crazy.
Yeah, but those teams have won it like Seattle's won it like twice in 3 years or whatever, but
they did
back to back.
Well, you remember there was that stint kind of in the mid 2010s where it was the final was always Seattle-Toronto, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But no team won it twice in a row.
That's crazy. That's actually a stat.
That's how competitive MLS is. But, for the Whitecaps, a win is a win. 3 points.
Yep.
And good for Thomas Muller to get his first MLS goal. No, it's a penalty, but a goal is a goal. I really still wish that the goal against Houston counted because that was an absolute banger.
Goal. Yeah.
Though I was worried, I'll admit. I was worried Muller would sky it because given his run-up.
Yeah, that did go just underneath the crossbar. That is true.
I think that's what he was going for anyway. And, it's really hair-raising to hear BC Place chant Thomas Muller's name. And
especially you got 26,000 people in it.
Yeah. And, it goes to show that, he is bringing the fans. He's bringing interest to the team. And that was the latest goal in Whitecaps history, according to the Whitecaps communication staff, which told us right before the game ended. 90 plus 14.
90 plus 14. That's what I thought. Okay. Interesting press conference. Mueller letting something slip as well. In the press conference, we got to talk. We were talking with Mueller, and he let slip a certain call-up that has happened that's brand new. Tristan Blackman has been called up to the American men's national team for I believe, the first time in his career.
Yeah, and for these upcoming friendlies for
Yeah.
the September international window, Muller let it slip. Nathan Vanstone, the Whitecaps communication vice president, was like, "Oh, don't look at me."
Yeah. And these are two good games that the U.S. has coming up. They're going to be playing South Korea on September 6th,
Yep,
and on the 9th, they're going to be playing Japan. I think these are
very good teams.
very good teams, right?
And Sebastian Berhalter has also been called up, and Brian White as well, but he's staying in Vancouver to work out his hamstring strain, which kind of
Yeah.
been niggling him the past couple of games.
He did come off early in the last match. He did in the match previous to that as well. They're not too worried about it, but you know what? If you can give the guy a bit of a rest, especially with these 3 weeks that are happening right now, get him back to full match fitness, especially because that last run in a season is tough. Just remember what happened to the Whitecaps last year at this time.
That's what I'm worried about heading into this stretch. Like, remember the Whitecaps did that Leagues Cup break last year, and then things just fell apart soon after.
They were
I'm
winless in
worried.
7 heading into the playoffs, I believe.
I'm worried this doesn't come to fruition.
I don't think it will because the circumstances are different. You've got players that are coming back, like an Ali Ahmed. You've got new players coming in that were in their preseasons. They're fresh and ready to go. It's going to take time to bleed them in, but
And we got Muller.
Physically, they're good. You got Thomas Muller, who you throw on the pitch.
And Kenji Cabrera.
Exactly. And you've got a break. You're not playing Leagues Cup. You don't have to worry about this silly tournament. You've got a break where you can get the team playing how you want, and you can go from there. It was a different formation that we saw in order to put Mueller in that number 10 role. Yep. And it was, I think that also lends to why that first half seemed disjointed.
That's what I was thinking as well, because the team isn't used to it. They didn't have much time to train with it, I guess. And they're all still trying to get adjusted. Like Sebastian Berhalter didn't look like himself. Neither did Andre.
No, he didn't, because he's having to drop further back. He's in a double pivot role alongside Kubis. He's not really kind of that roaming number 8.
He's not a deep lying playmaker. Let's put it that way.
The interesting thing is when he started with the Whitecaps, that is exactly what he was. So we know he is capable of doing it, but it's been a year and a half, 2 years since he's had to. So coming in, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think these 3 weeks are going to be great for them. Honestly, I wish it was only 2 weeks, because sometimes having too much time is not a good thing.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. I'm going
Sorensen pretty much said that, we're going to work a lot next 3 weeks. I also assume the 4-2-3-1 formation is going to be a big teaching point to get everyone on the same page.
The other thing is you got to remember that Jesper Sorensen in his playing career was a midfielder, right? Yep. These are the guys that he is going to be working with in order to make this work. And if you can get that midfield working, everything else slots into place.
Yeah, the midfield was also a weak link in the game against St. Louis. And Jesper Sorensen, remember, he is a guy that doesn't like sticking to one formation. So
yeah, that's true.
He's going to use his pragmatism to get the players going with the 4-2-3-1. And I believe Sebastian Berhalter can work in a double pivot.
I think so too.
He's playing so deep, he isn't given a lot of freedom to be creative as much.
Yeah.
But in this kind of situation, you got more creative guys ahead of him, like Muller, Ahmed, Nelson, and Ryan Gauld when he comes back.
Yeah. Speaking of players like Ali Ahmed, we got the Canadian men's national team that had call-ups. Ahmed on that team, Jaden Nelson called up as well. They will be facing Romania on September 5th, and then Wales on the 9th.
Yep, and also more call-ups for the Whitecaps. Kenji Cabrera has been called up for the Peru, not the under-20s, the actual senior men's national team.
He has been called up before. He hasn't played yet. He's not capped, but he has been called up earlier this summer. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually gets his first caps. And I believe for Peru, these aren't friendlies. These are qualifiers.
These are World Cup qualifying.
Yeah, these are World Cup qualifiers.
Bovalina's been called up as well for the under
U23 Australia. You also have players. Like I want to say Liam McKenzie for Canada.
Yep.
The unders. There was
And
3 players. Liam McKenzie, and I can't remember the other 2 now.
one of them though is a very familiar name
No.
to Vancouver sports. Henrik Sedin's son, Walter. He chose football instead of hockey. He's been called up for the under-18 Canadian team.
Yes, he has. From the Whitecaps.
Sports just runs in the family, and that's very good to see. Walter Sedin, son of a Vancouver sports legend, and he's trying to create his own legacy with the Whitecaps and Canada.
Moving on, let's talk about some of the other players that have been called up to the team and how they did over in their European competitions this past week. Jonathan David scoring for Juventus, but Tajon Buchanan, was this his first game for Villarreal?
First or second, I can't remember.
Yeah, but getting a hat trick in the way he did, and that I believe it was his second goal. I don't know how. Like it was like watching Draisaitl score from the goal line, pretty much.
He just ran. No, he nutmegged a guy and just made a beeline towards the goal and beat the goalkeeper.
The angle of it.
I know, it's crazy, and he managed to keep the ball in.
Yeah.
The second goal was a tap-in, pretty much. And then the third one, I think the goalkeeper was just poor, mistimed his jump, and it went in. Yeah. But good for Buchanan to get a hat trick. Good for David, too. Also a tap-in, but a goal is a goal. If you look at the Serie A Twitter page, they post it without no commentary. And the roar of the Allianz Stadium when David scores, that is hair-raising. That gives you chills.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I wanted to jump back, bit of an outcome at the end of the Whitecaps City match. In the aftermath of that, St. Louis City has fired their sporting director, Lutz. Oh my gosh, Fanenstiel.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's been with the club for 5 years. Obviously, 5 years as a sporting director. He's built that club in his image. First sporting director that they've had. So it's going to be interesting to see what City does going forward.
And the new sporting director will also have to hire a new head coach because they have an interim right now.
Yes, that's true.
So for Canada, their upcoming friendlies, just looking at the roster here, a lot of familiar names, and we've also got a name that's been called up, a name that's been part of the setup for a long time. Junior Hoylett has been called up. We also got some new names: defender Jackley Marshall Ruti and goalkeeper Jaden Hibbert.
Hibbert's done very well, I want to say, with Atlanta.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Marsh was actually asked if the possibility of Hibbert stepping in front of players like St. Clair and Crépeau. Obviously, he's very coy on his answer. He's not going to say anything. But these two friendlies might be a chance to at least give him, say, 45 minutes.
Yeah. And no Alistair Johnston. Fortunately, he injured his hamstring, had to be shifted off with Celtic.
Yeah, he's going to be out for quite a while.
No Daniel Jebison either, because he's got injured in Bournemouth or whatever team he's been loaned to. I forgot. Yeah. For the two Whitecaps guys, Nelson and Ahmed, obviously in. Jamie Knight-LaBelle has also been called up as a defender. Zorhan Basong as well, given Sam Adekube's season-ending injury. So a lot of names you'll expect on there, and good to see some new faces and one familiar face.
Yeah.
And yeah, these friendlies, I think also got to figure out, try to move on from the Gold Cup and Nations League failures. Just also gives Marsh and his staff to figure out which way they want to play heading into the World Cup, who starts with Jonathan David up front, who's partnered with Eustachio, and who starts in goal. Just the questions are not going to be answered right away, but there should be some kind of clear pathway towards those questions being answered in these friendlies.
The interesting thing is you take a look at where Canada is in the FIFA rankings right now. Canada's sitting in 28th on the men's rankings, which is the highest they have ever been. So when you're playing a team like Romania and Wales, Canada ranks higher than those two teams right now. I was actually surprised they ranked higher than Wales.
Yeah, me too. It's also, very surprising for that. And I'm just hoping that, you know, Canada does their best in these friendlies. It's good testing for
Very good
the
testing.
World Cup because they're going to face teams like this and teams that are better than these two in the
Absolutely.
World Cup. Um, so I went to see the World Cup yesterday at the Italian Cultural Center in East Vancouver. It was also shown at Canada Place on Saturday before the Whitecaps game. Probably should have went there instead, mainly because I didn't want to stand in the heat for a few hours. And I don't know, I was so naive. I thought they would display it inside the Italian Cultural Center, not inside. I don't know. Maybe I was what I was thinking. So when I got there was a huge crowd of people. I was like, okay, where's the line? Oh, no line. I guess I'll have to find a way to get up there. And it was just a total gong show. Very disorganized. Kids were being pushed. They prioritized the kids going up front, but people were pushing, not letting the kids through. People had to stand on chairs to get a view of the World Cup, myself included, since I'm short. For if you were there, Nathan, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, I would just the people crowd surfing would have smacked me in the head.
Yeah, you would have easily just towered over everybody. It was hot. The sun was ruining the glare, not just for my photos, but others. The World Cup was in a case, obviously. The people there were trying to, direct people, get the kids up front, but overall, no clarity on lines, no barriers, which was very surprising. There was security, so at least there was that, but so poorly organized. Maybe I shouldn't have been surprised because this was announced last week. And given the Canada Place viewing, it was lines, staff takes photos, done. That's the way it should have been at the Italian Cultural Center. But this goes to show that this World Cup, there's some worries for here in Vancouver because I hope that isn't a precursor to what we see next year.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Because if it is, we're going to have a hell of a time. I will also worry about, getting into BC Place, getting into the fan zones next year. But my God, that was quite the experience.
Let's be honest. The World Cup in Vancouver is going to be absolute hell for people that don't follow football.
Yeah.
Basically, if you don't follow football, stay out of downtown for about 2 months next year. For people that do follow it, it's still going to be a difficult time actually getting to the areas that you want to get. This is so far showing to be unbelievably disorganized. And just from what we've heard from the media side in terms of how they're organizing media, there is none. There is none.
Very. And oh my, just getting into BC Place next year for the media. And also the fan zone, I believe, is where the P&E is. So, oh God, the rapid bus from Hastings, that's gonna be packed.
You're gonna get the greatest view of Vancouver.
The downtown east side. Can you imagine the England fans going through that area, fighting with the homeless people?
Oh God, yeah.
But yesterday, just
they do, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a gong show, and I'm really disappointed with the way it was handled. I thought it would be lineups and everything. I don't mind waiting in line, and it would have gone fast anyway because I had time before my appointment. But people standing on chairs, people pushing kids, I was just so mad, ticked off. But at least I got to see the World Cup, and if you saw my Twitter or my Instagram, somewhat photos with it from a distance, but it is what it is. So the other Vancouver team. Vancouver Rise are 2 for 2 in Ontario, and they're getting hot at the right time.
I believe this gives them undefeated in 7 games right now. And I got to say, this Ottawa game was it was a phenomenal game to watch. Samantha Chang, wait for her name to be called to the national team. That's all I'm going to say. Great build up to the first goal. But what really got this game was the part that none of us could watch. After
because the
Haley
feed went out.
Ward scored in the 75th minute to tie the game at that point at 2-2,
That was a great goal, by the way, and great
the
pass.
feed got lost.
Yeah,
NSL lost the feed. No one was able to see the end of the game. So we missed Benatti's goal in the 88th minute to give Ottawa the lead. Or sorry, to give Ottawa the 2-2 draw, tie the game. And we missed Samantha Chang with the brace 1 minute later off the free kick.
And she smashed that.
If you get a chance, someone posted like a handheld video onto my Twitter. I believe it was my Twitter or my Blue Sky of the goal, so you can see it there. But
it's on the highlight package from the NSL too, just with no commentary.
One thing is this Ottawa trip, 6 points out of 6, or not Ottawa trip, this Ontario trip.
Yeah, and they did it in style too. Down to 10 in Toronto, and won a thriller in Ottawa. So, I mean, the Rise are starting to play good football, and given that they're an attacking transitional team, we're really starting to see that. And yeah, I really think that the break was beneficial for them, and they haven't lost a game since that break.
They have actually. You're absolutely right. They have not lost a game since that break. I think Okamoto has done very well in integrating herself into the squad. I think
she did pretty well from what I saw
on that left-hand side. This moves the Rise to third. They've now leapfrogged over Ottawa in the standings. Only 2 points off Montreal.
And guess who's coming to town?
Going to be playing this weekend. I will be at the game. And so, I mean, we're heading to the very end of this season. If I'm right, there's only 5 games left in the Rise's season.
Yep.
So they have a chance to finish top 2. I think Toronto might be a bit of a bridge too far at the top table, but there are spots up for grabs. And I think Rise are getting hot at the right time.
Montreal, this is a big game on Saturday at Swangard, 7 p.m. start. It'll be at the game. I'll watch from home on it's on TSN, so thumbs up to that. And hopefully they won't lose the feed this time, given it's TSN.
Here's hoping.
Here's hoping, and really good game from the Rise, the way they battled Ottawa Rapid. So yeah, I mean, good to see them doing well. And this is what was expected heading into the season, to be in that third place spot.
All right.
Over to Europe. So, Cole Palmer got injured in the warm-ups before the game in West Ham. Turns out they didn't really need him. He injured his groin in warm-ups, and Willian Esteval gets his first EPL start. Palmer may come off the bench against Fulham in the next match, but they don't want to risk him. But after the international break, he should be fine. So a 5-1 win at the London Stadium against West Ham, who just looked terrible. Oh, by the way, lost to Wolves yesterday and blew a 2-1 lead within like 3 minutes. Their fans are not happy, and Graham Potter is on the hot seat. And also goes to show that West Hams are getting a taste of what Graham Potter football was like when he was at Chelsea.
Yeah, but 8 goals against in 2 matches.
Yeah,
I mean that's damning.
I think it's like 11 in 3 now.
Jeez.
Very problematic. But West Ham were up 1-0 within 5 minutes because Paqueta just blasted one past Robert Sanchez. I don't know why Sanchez tried to save it with his left hand when it was going to his right hand when it's going to his left. But the way Chelsea responded, it was all them. This guy, I don't like. What have Chelsea signed? 60 million is starting to look like a bargain. Joao Pedro again. That's 7 goals in 7 games since he joined Chelsea. And remember how I said I didn't want him because he was a Brighton striker and half his goals are penalties? I'm taking the L for that because this guy at this rate is starting to become a Golden Boot contender. It's early, but still. And it's already starting to look like a world-class striker. And hey, he got called up for Brazil. So that's something. He on the corner, like West Ham. What is he defending on the corners? The goalkeeper, the defenders, all over the place, and Pedro just taps it in. And then the second goal, Joao Pedro gets an assist, though Chalaba gets away with a foul on the build-up, and Pedro Neto puts it past the West Ham goalkeeper. But William Esteval, who was starting for Cole Palmer, very well. Man of the match, all over the place, making good runs, excellent passes. Could have scored in the second half, but this assist to Enzo Fernandez, he just bursts through the defenders and finds Enzo Fernandez with a tap in. Also show why he's been so highly regarded for years in Brazil. This guy is a generational talent, and we're getting a glimpse of that. Again, West Ham in the second half. More bad defending, more messy corner defending. Goalkeeper and defenders all over the place again. Caicedo taps it in. 100th appearance, and he gets a goal. Come a long way from his first appearance at Chelsea, where he gave away that penalty at the London Stadium at West Ham. He's come a long way since then. And then Trevor Chalaba adds the icing on the cake, also from a corner kick. West Ham and set piece defending. That is terrible. Overall, dominance on the road. Good to get the first win. And no Cole Palmer, no problem. Everybody on the pitch pretty much stepped up. Even Liam Delap. Yeah, he didn't score, but his hold-up play, his link-up play, very effective. And that's what you want in a striker like him. So Fulham away next at Stamford Bridge. Unlikely Cole Palmer starts. All right, since the last week before the transfer window closes and a lot's happening, of all teams, Nicholas Jackson has agreed personal terms with Bayern Munich, which was surprising.
He's not going to be starting.
Yeah, because he's going to be behind Harry Kane.
Exactly.
And it's likely going to be a loan, but it's still unclear. So it seems talks are advancing, but nothing is clear yet. For Christopher Nkunku, it looks like the Leipzig move isn't happening because it's not financially viable for RB Leipzig. Don't know where. Serie A, Bayern Munich, other Premier League teams. Romano keeps saying, Nkunku will go somewhere, but where? I'm sick of hearing interested. How about get it done? So Xavi Simons could sign for Chelsea. And by the way, Spurs are now inquiring about him.
They are.
And
to be fair, Spurs are inquiring about every single player in Europe that could play as a 10.
Yeah, but Chelsea have the upper hand here because they've already agreed personal terms, and Xavi Simons has been holding out for Chelsea all summer. And I don't know, this just came out of nowhere. Chelsea have been inquiring about Barcelona's Ferman Lopez. Maybe it's a backup in case the Xavi Simons deal falls through. Or they're just, bluffing to get Nkunku out of there quicker and the Xavi Simons deal quicker. So we don't know what this is. But Ornstein and Romano said there's actual fire to this smoke.
Yeah.
Okay, so but good player, but Xavi Simons is more of what Chelsea need. And Alejandro Garnacho, again, it's any time now, any few days before they get that one done as well. And I've said often on this show how much I don't want him at Chelsea, but you know what? Fine. It's happening.
Maybe he'll surprise you.
Yeah, maybe he'll surprise. Maybe he'll do better than Jadon Sancho did. I would have rather kept Sancho instead of signing Garnacho, but Sancho wants the $300K a week so he can spend it on Fortnite skins. As terms of sales, it seems Axel Disasi is close to leaving, getting offers from Bournemouth and Sunderland. There'll be a bidding war for him, which is nice to see. And Carney Kumaweka has been sold to Dortmund. They actually sold him, not loaned him out. 25 million euros, I believe. And they also loaned out that young fullback, Aaron Anselmino, to Dortmund. So Chelsea and Dortmund, transfer partners again. And when I play FIFA, I always buy players from Dortmund when playing as Chelsea. So, life imitates art, or art imitates life. So yeah, should be a busy week for Chelsea. Just get Xavi Simmons done, get Nkuku and Jackson gone, get Disasi gone. Raheem Sterling, nothing. Ben Chilwell, nothing. Maybe they'll be banished to PL2 until January. That's 500K a week in wages not playing. Oh, uh,
Scary.
so sales and two deals hopefully to get done. Just get Xavi Simmons through the door. So I don't know what it is, but Pep Guardiola's kryptonite of all teams is Tottenham Hotspur.
It always seems like Spurs face Man City away
Yep.
very, very early in the season, and there's no reason to fear. I don't know what it is, but yeah, Spurs definitely have Man City's number over the past years, especially as Guardiola has been there. This was a very comfortable 2-0 win. I think Manchester had opportunities very early in the match that if they would have gone in, it could have changed the game, but they couldn't
But
get
they
anything on
folded.
target.
Yeah, they
Not in the
folded after the first goal.
not in the very beginning. Johnson's goal in the 35th minute wasn't initially given. It ended up having to go to VAR to take a look to see if it had been offside. Or, sorry, it was given. They took a look at VAR because the flag had gone up. It was onside. It was given. Great run. I believe it was Richarlison with the assist on this one.
Yep.
And run down the right, got in front of the defender, brought it into Johnson, who ran in behind the trailing center back. Great goal.
Yeah.
And then Palhinha gets his first in a Tottenham shirt just before the break. I don't know what Trafford was doing here.
Yeah, what was James Trafford doing on this?
Tottenham won this game through their high press. They did not. City plays out of the back. They have time on the ball. They can do whatever they want. They did not get the time that they were accustomed to, and we saw that in this second goal. Sarr, so far in the two matches that we've seen so far in the season and in the preseason, has arguably been Spurs' best player. And this goal was created because of the pressure that he put on Trafford, forced him to cough out the ball. Richarlison, to his credit, could have tried the shot, didn't have a good body position for it, pulled back because he saw Palhinha coming in, let him take it, and 2-0 before the half. Not a lot happened, but it was still a team effort goal, which is kind of an odd way to say because of how this goal started. I think it speaks to what Thomas Frank has got this team doing right now, and I think it's been
a team
really
effort
good
goal.
to see.
Just crowding James Trafford, and he screwed it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Richarlison's play so far has got him back into the Brazilian squad, which I think is really, really good to see.
Yep. He always does
Maduro.
well in a World Cup year.
Yeah, John Maduro. It's going to happen to City, don't you think?
Yeah, they have to sign Donnarumma.
Yeah.
Or any other goalkeeper.
Interesting thing is, out of the two matches so far that's happened, Vicario is tied with Arsenal's Rea for the most saves in the league so far at 8. Both teams have clean sheets in both of those games. Both those teams sit number 1, number 2 in the standings.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, kind of crazy. It does look like Yus Bissouma's time is done with Spurs. Obviously, he was benched for the Super Cup game because he kept showing up late to training. He hasn't even been able to make the squad the last 2 games. It looks like there's talks with Galatasaray for a loan. Not really sure on whether or not there's an option or an obligation to buy afterwards. Have to wait and see. But I don't think we see Bissouma in a shirt, in Spurs shirt anymore. I do believe that we will see a contract extension for Bentancur. He's in his last season on his current contract. He's featured in both these games so far. He's done very, very well. I think that we're going to see him, especially because you want that experience when you're playing guys like Archie Gray or Bergvall alongside him. I think he's a really, really good guy to have alongside them. Just waiting to see. right now it's just who are you going to get as a number 10? That is the priority for Spurs. Get a number 10 in. You've only got a few days left before that September 1st window closes. We'll have to wait and see. Nico Paz, Como, was a name that has popped up. It doesn't look like it would be
He's been popped up quite a bit.
Expensive. The problem is he came from Real Madrid, and Real Madrid still holds a 50% stake in the player, as well as I think only like a 10 million euro buyback clause. And it's Real Madrid that's saying no, because they hold that stake in the player, and they still want the option of being able to bring him back to them if it happens. So to me, this is dead in the water. It's not happening. It can't happen unless Real Madrid says you can sell this guy, and they're not going to do that. They have gone back to Savinho with Manchester City. They are looking to break the bank at almost 61 million pounds. It's not a transfer record for Spurs, but it's getting very, very close to that.
At this rate,
he wants to go. The player wants to go. Manchester City is hedging their bets. Basically, everything stands on whether or not they can bring in Rodrigo from Real Madrid, but there's a lot of difficulty in that deal right now.
He's going to be very expensive.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen, which is why Spurs are still looking elsewhere. They have been looking actually at the replacement that Crystal Palace has been looking at to replace Ize, Leicester's Bilal El Kahunas. Spurs may be looking to poach that deal. Could be done for as cheap as 32 million pounds. Obviously, he wasn't on a good Leicester team last year, but that's not a discredit to the player, right?
No,
he is a guy
Leicester was terrible.
Yeah, could definitely do this. That is a possibility. They're also looking at Lucas Paqueta, West Ham. West Ham might be forced into selling players just to get under PSR. The other player they're still looking at is Aston Villa's Morgan Rogers. Aston Villa is having problems with PSR as well. But
they need to sell
Rogers is being priced at about 100 million pounds, and that would break the record for Spurs. Now, Spurs have money in the bank. They have no problems with PSR, and they're about to get about 60 million more euro for Champions League league stage qualifier. So they've got they're financially they're one of the best teams in the world. You remember last year there was a ranking of the most financially viable teams in the world. I think Spurs were listed as number 2. So
yeah, they were. They might have been number 1. I can't remember.
I can't remember. They can do it if they wanted, but it would be very, very rare for Spurs to do something like this. Not only that, but being that they were burned twice this summer already, going after a guy like Rodgers, which is going to be a different, and then also Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yep.
Going after a guy which they know is going to be a tough guy to bring in. Not a lot of window to do it in. I don't know if they want to possibly get burned for a third time and then have no one come in. The one guy that feels like is progressing, again, it's not an easy transfer, but it does, in my mind at least, feel the most likely, is Monaco's Magnus Akluche. I believe I might be saying that right.
I think you might be right.
Young kid, I believe he's only 21, 22, done very, very well. Can play that number 10, can play on the wing as well. I do feel like this is the most likely if they go outside the Premier League. So we'll just have to wait and see. Bayer Leverkusen, out of nowhere, kind of made Piero Hincapié available.
Yeah. Chelsea have been interested, but it hasn't gone anywhere.
Same with Spurs. This is a guy they've been looking at even before they had signed Radu Dragusin. It looked like, well, actually, let's be honest. It looked like it was going to be Arsenal. But the private jet to bring him to Arsenal for the medical just got canceled. Because Bayer Leverkusen is now saying, nope, no deal. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But I don't think Spurs are kicking the tires too hard on this.
I don't think Chelsea are either.
We'll have to wait and see. Basically, we know that Paratici, who sporting director, person of interest for Spurs. We'll have to wait and see what his actual title is going to be. And the head of scouting, Rob McKenzie, do have a list for a number 10. We know that there are a whole bunch of names on that list that have not been leaked. So, I mean, there still could be some surprises. We'll just have to wait and see. Guaranteed Spurs are bringing in a player to fill that role.
They have to bring a player.
We just don't know who. The other one that we're waiting to hear is on Luka Vuskovic. Chances are he's going to be going back out on loan. He was on the bench for the City match, did not make an appearance. Personally, I'd like him to stay. I think this is a guy, he did phenomenal on loan last year. Player of the season, I believe it was in Belgium or Netherlands, I can't remember which. But there are a number of clubs from the Bundesliga that want to bring him in. Hamburg is the name that is stepping up most or the loudest. Obviously, they just lost Scheinlau to the Whitecaps, so they are looking for center backs. Vuskovic is, if he can get consistent minutes with a team like that, sure, but I'm hedging it because I know that in previous couple of years, Romero gets injured, Mickey Van de Ven gets injured. We're going to need center backs. I'd like to keep him around, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Right now, everything hinges on a number 10. Get in a number 10, and then they'll worry about whether or not they get in a center back. But I think getting in another starting center back might wait to January.
All right. So
Bournemouth next is who they play on the
Bournemouth.
So,
yeah. So this was a thriller match a couple days ago. Liverpool Newcastle, given these circumstances with Isak, but only 40.8% of the time actually played, despite it being a really good game. It's a very physical game, but the game really changed the tide with Anthony Gordon's really dumb tackle on Virgil van Dijk. Didn't even get the ball. VAR got this call right. I don't know why Newcastle fans were complaining. Didn't even get the ball. And, well, Newcastle needs a striker now.
Look, this game, yes, I get there was goals in the game. I get there was moments where it was good. But this game was barely played. 32 fouls in this game. The best plays came off throw-ins.
Yeah.
Only 40.8% of the 90 plus whatever extra minutes was actually playable time. The rest was sitting around waiting.
Yeah.
They haven't had a game with this level of playing time since 2010 in the Premier League. And it has brought up calls again for whether or not football should move to a 60-minute clock of stop time.
Yeah. And by the way, the winning goal was scored at 90 plus 10. Similar to the Whitecaps game by Rio Nugomoha, 16-year-old, former Chelsea Academy product.
What do you think? What do you think about the 60-minute stop time clock being introduced?
I'm intrigued by it, but oh my god, the amount of outrage if it ever came to fruition, people are not going to be happy.
Well, that's exactly it. But the thing is the reason why people are not going to be happy about it is the whole legacy argument. That's just not the way it's done. I'm like, I don't care if it's not the way it's done.
People are going to say it's utter
right now. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
when half your time in most games, the amount of time that's actually played is around like the 52, 55 minute mark. If people are spending however much money to watch where only half the time is used, you've got a problem.
Yeah, you got to
played
40%.
Let's round it up. 60% of the time was people looking for a hot dog.
Yeah,
that's something needs to be done because it is getting worse. It's not getting better. I know that they're making
frustrating.
This whole thing of, like we saw in the World Cup where they're putting stupid amounts of time as injury time. That's not doing anything. You're still getting people with all this stupid little time wasting stuff. Remove it. Remove it entirely. Do a stopwatch. You have had the ability. Not like digital is like this fantastic new thing. You've had it around forever. Just do it.
I do it, but keep the 90 minutes.
I don't know if I'd
Uh,
keep the 90 minutes. Now, don't get me wrong. I know in the United States, in NCAA, I believe at least on the women's side, they actually do a 90-minute stop clock, which is
they
crazy.
do.
Make it a 60-minute. Because if on average only 52 to 55 minutes are actually played, 60 minutes is a good round number, right?
Right. But this game, regardless, was fun to watch despite the constant stopping.
Yeah.
And Newcastle, good on them for getting back in the game. But my God, that defending on the winning goal, they left the kid all alone. Look at the space if you watch it back again. I know they were down to 10 men, but still. And uh, this also reminds me of this whole stoppage thing, American football, where most of the time they're standing around, and the plays only
I'll
last
tell
like
you right
five
now,
seconds.
that's why I cannot watch American football because my whole joke is why am I going to watch them stand around for 4 minutes trying to figure out how to play the next 4 seconds?
That's
I
pretty much
can't
what
do it.
American football
I
is.
find it so boring because nothing happens. Now, if you give me a movie about football, I love it because you get the human story. But the
Yeah,
sport is just nothing. I can't do it.
I I screwed up my fantasy draft time, but they give me a pretty good automated team. But regardless, that sport, American football, yeah, there's more time standing around discussing plays than actually playing.
Yeah.
So, um, one last thing here. This is big. Kairat, a team from Kazakhstan, home of Borat. Kazakhstan, greatest country in the world. Um, Third place in their league. They knocked out Celtic on penalties in the Champions League playoff qualification to reach the group stage of the Champions League. So some teams are going to go all the way to Kazakhstan to play Champions League games. Now, this team has played in the Conference League, Europa League, and now they're in the Champions League.
Good on them.
Yeah,
Good on them.
well
You know
done.
what?
Well done.
You deserve to be there. It was a poor match. Brendan Rodgers came out afterwards and said, this is not who they should be. And don't get me wrong, I know Celtics got problems.
They don't have a
Alistair
striker.
Johnson's out. They need a striker.
Yeah.
They need a
We talked
striker.
about
Get
Jamie
Jamie
Vardy
Vardy
last
done.
week.
Get
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy done. Or someone. I don't care who, but you need
Somebody can
someone.
put the ball in it.
The Scottish
Yeah.
League is going to be a very weird league this year.
Yeah. I think Rangers also have their issues as well.
Oh man, Rangers they're looking to lynch their coach already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a weird like if you're a team in Scotland and you think you've got a good squad, this might be your year.
Yeah, and
Good on go Hearts.
Go Hearts, go Aberdeen, or
whoever, right?
Or Dundee, Brian Gall's old club.
Yeah.
Kairat, yeah, good on them. I think their stadium sits barely over 20K or just under that. And it's a very snowy town, so that should be fun for a big team going there. Like, could you imagine a Bayern Munich, Chelsea, or PSG going there, or Liverpool?
Yeah, it would be interesting. Yeah, their stadium seats almost 24,000.
Okay, that's It's not bad. It's not bad for Kazakhstani team. Yeah, but you're pretty much in the cold territory of the stand countries.
Yeah.
Miles away from London. That should be fun. So that'll conclude this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Whitecaps do not play until September 13th against Philadelphia Union. So we won't have much Whitecaps talk, unfortunately, for the next couple weeks, unless something happens, something significant. Obviously, with the international break coming up, we'll talk about the Canadian men's national team and their friendlies. Looks like Whitecaps are having some time off. Thomas Muller, Sebastian Schonlau, and Isaac Boehmer apparently went fishing.
Saw that.
So the Germans got to see beautiful British Columbia. For Chelsea, a deal has apparently agreed for Alejandro Garnacho for $40 million. So I think a year ago we'll be seeing it today. And follow me on Twitter, Joshua00, Nathan and Derek. We're on Blue Sky. Check out the Terminal City FC podcast Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube channel. Thanks to everyone watching live on the YouTube and Area 51 Twitter page, and for listening to wherever you get your podcast. Check out our writing for Area 51 Sports Network, writing about footy. With hockey season coming up, we'll be ramping up the coverage as well. So we'll be back next week. We'll figure out what to talk about next week, but there will be stuff.
There's always something to talk about in football.
Yeah, transfer deadline day is on Monday, so we'll
go.
talk about the deals that did happen or did not happen next week. So that concludes this week's episode. Peace out.
Take care.